All right, I'm Dr. Cassie Preston, a mental performance coach and the founder of CP Mindset. Today, I just want to make a quick video here that walks you through what it means to work on your mindset, on the mental game. And we call it the CP journey and helping you climb up the mindset mountain. And this is important because it's often not very vague. What is it? What are we doing? What are we working on? Whether you're an athlete or a coach that wants to do this with your team. And so the point of this video is to break it down for you, show you the journey that our athletes go through, what you can go through, as well as like what you're going to work on and how you work on it. So to do that, I'm just going to share my screen and actually show you some slides that have the mindset mountain right on it, because that's our favorite analogy. And it's a great analogy because it breaks down the 5 key stages to working on your mindset. The first of which is being in the river. And the way that I like to use this analogy is M stands for your mindset, means you're in your own head. So this is things like self-doubt. If you've got lots of self-doubt going on, you're in your own head. It could be you're beating yourself up, or you're nervous and anxious, or you're not focused, not dealing well with adversity. But the second thing to make note of is the A, the achievement. You're underperforming. You're probably hesitating. You're probably panicking, etc. And the point being is you're not performing at your capabilities. Mindset and achievement and the results, performance, go hand in hand. And so when you're in the river, you're struggling. You're down here. You're not at the peak of the mountain, which is where we're going. And so the goal is to start doing mental training. So with that, once you get started, you make your way up to base camp. You're out of the river. You're getting those initial mental blocks cleared. You're starting to see improvements. You get a spike in your performance. You're going in the right direction. But a lot of athletes might oscillate up and down. They're out of the river. They're playing great. Next game, they're back in the river. And because they haven't really personalized and worked on their mindset and the fundamentals, which I'll be showing you later. So the next phase of that, as you start to personalize it, is to get to the first summit. And this is where you're starting to average like 85% in the zone. You're doing pretty well. You get this elevated performance. You're generally doing well. A lot of people sometimes get comfortable up on this third level. But the problem is you can easily slip back down to the river, and we don't want to do that. It's a dangerous place to get complacent. And so the job is to get to the peak here. You got to take this leap of faith. You got to take ownership. Push yourself, hold yourself to a higher standard. And so this is an important part to the journey. And when you do that, now you're on what we call the final ascent. And you start getting multiple games at 95% plus in the zone, generally doing your best on a mindset mental game, and you're getting consecutive peak performances. And so every time you get one, you're making that ascent. Once you get like 4 or 5 in a row, that's when you're at the peak here. That's when you're achieving consistently performance. And to do that, you need to optimize your habits and the tools. So let's dive in. You've achieved it. You're at the peak. What does it look like? We call it mindset mastery. You're in a place where you're centered, you're consistently dialed in, and the performance, you're consistently game in, game out, achieving consistently performance. So what's the priority here? Are you just chill up at the peak? No, now you're also really working on leadership and maximizing the impact with others once you're at the peak. And obviously, as you work on your mindset, you become a better leader. So a few other important points to consider when you're thinking about this mindset mountain. You can climb it fairly quickly, right? If you do the tools I'm about to show you, you'll climb it fairly quickly and effectively. But you got to put in the work, just like anything else. And what's also important is you get to reconnect to the love of the game. One of the foundational things that we do when you're working on your mindset is make sure you know your core why, the intrinsic drivers. That's so important. The other 2 important points, you get to enjoy the journey and develop life skills. That's important as well. So last question to think about when you're looking at this mindset, where are you at, athlete, right now? What stage are you at? And again, knowing that you might oscillate around, but it's very common. Athletes get into the river, and then your job is to start doing the mental training. So let's dive in and show you exactly what that means. So we do that with a mental skills assessment, mindset assessment. And the foundation of the mental skills mindset is about performance identity, which means the key skills, these 4 key skills to get into the zone on game day and play and trust yourself. And those are to be focused. Focus on what? The process. Be immersed in it. Okay. Second is composure, staying relaxed yet focused under pressure. Managing your arousal levels, one thing we dive into. And then a third big one is resilience. You can't avoid adversity and challenges. So being able to embrace them, understand them, and move forward is really important. And the other big cornerstone over here, confidence. Everybody knows and the importance and they want to be confident, but so many athletes struggle and have yo-yo confidence. So we kind of break down what it actually is and how to work on it so you can be more consistently trusting your training and own your greatness. So the assessment breaks down these things. You want to work on them, know which one are the most important, but there's two other layers to your mindset, to what we're working on so you can climb the mountain. Two is elite habits. This becomes really important as you progress up the mountain because you want to have unreal discipline, not good, really good discipline. And you also need to be centered when we're talking about away from the arena, from the playing field. It's blocking out the noise, having critical concentration skills, just managing life stressors in general so it doesn't come with you onto the field of play or the rink. And so bottom line here, that's really helpful. And then as you work on all these foundational, these bottom six happens, automatically become a better leader. But the point being, there is other leadership skills that we work on, especially as you are climbing that mindset mountain. So that gives you a snapshot of what the mental skills are that you're working on. And what's interesting with our assessment, not only are we going to give you a report or you reflect on all 7 of those, every one of these mental skills has a reciprocal mental block. So if you're like, oh yeah, I'm really struggling with confidence, well, that probably means you have these limiting beliefs around yo-yo confidence. And so then our job is to actually to let go, debunk, and remove the limiting beliefs so that your confidence comes back and you own it. And so when we do that with the strategies in the toolbox, you're going to see shortly. And so whether it's composure as well, same concept. Oh, that's another one I struggle with. Let's highlight that. Well, then there's probably a good overlap here. Now, they're not always directly correlated because they're all interconnected. You're struggling with confidence. There's probably some struggles with composure or resilience, etc. So once you take that assessment, you got a good idea of kind of where you're at. Now you got to do the work. You gotta put in, the exercises, the strategies, and concepts to climb the mountain, to work on those skills. And so specifically, I'm going to show you the 4 core ones to start. Give a bit of time for that because this is so important. All of our athletes use all 4 of these core performance identity tools. We call them the fundamentals. And the first one is alter ego. And this really, a lot of credit goes to Todd Herman. Literally wrote the book called The Alter Ego Effect, helped inspire and helped us refine this strategy. And the alter ego is simply about creating this dichotomy, this split in your mind. Which way are you going to show up today? Our best self version of showing up in the zone, trusting yourself, or our worst self? And what does it look like for you to be in your own head? The doubt, the hesitation, etc. And the clarity in that and putting a name and persona to it is a very helpful, because then everything we do is about activating, get into your best self. And literally one of the best strategies that our athletes love using is the reset routine, which is simply, as I said, activate your alter ego. So you got to identify what your alter ego is and then know how to activate it using a reset routine. It clears your head. It's what you do on game day and practice days. Once a habit, it's a skill you do. It doesn't even have to be very long. It can be 5, 10, 15 seconds. So this is an important tool you want to integrate. Then after that, what do you do afterwards? Athletes are way too hard on themselves. They don't reflect effectively. They're beating themselves up. They're not reflecting on their mindset, let alone the right things on their mindset. And they're often like, just focusing on all the stuff they got to be better at and don't own the wins they do and aren't keying in on the key concepts to their game. So in this reflection tool, we get you to identify key concepts, reflect on your alter ego, reflect on the right questions in a simple format so that it helps you in your mental game and your mindset to form in the zone. The last part is the mental prep. And particularly, we talk a lot about imagery and attention setting. So you're getting very clear in your mind how you're going to show up, and you're mentally preparing all week, not just on game day. And what's really cool, and I like to kind of make clear here, this creates this prepare, play, reflect cycle. And the reset routine is about getting present. Reflection, okay, about learning and growing, and then mental prep, helping you prepare before. So you prepare, then you play and get present, reflect, learn, and grow. And this is a cyclical strategy and concepts that allow you to create this upward spiral. And that's a lot better than the common downward spirals we often get in, because we're getting caught up in the limiting beliefs and we don't have consistent, effective tools to help us stay on the right track. That gives you the idea of the performance identity core fundamentals, but there's a bunch of other little tools and strategies that we have in our toolbox as well and want you to work on. And this comes from things like full confidence, okay, which is a huge one about breaking down what really is confidence, how do you work on it, and some strategies around that, as well as then origin story. And all of these then get integrated into your fundamentals, into your reset routine, into your reflection process, etc. So there's some other great ones about definition of success, which is so important for knowing what it is and how you're going to show up and what it looks like on the field of play. And then that gets tied into reflections. Power statements is great for your mental prep and so forth. So there's 7 great ones there. And then what I'll do here, I want to also show you the elite habits, right? Building habits themselves is a whole process. And so whether that's to help you develop more discipline, or there's something that you just want to add into your daily routines and work on, we've got some good worksheets and concepts there that are very helpful for elite athletes as you keep climbing the ranks. Enhanced goal setting, we go a little deeper here. It depends on the time of the year. There's different exercises such as quarterly rocks, year-end reviews. And so the point being is helps you get clear on your targets, track them and process them. And a really helpful spin-off of that is KPIs. Most of us are focusing on stats and things out of our control. We actually want to limit that. That's a habit we want to reduce. We want to build up habits that are actually helpful and feedback mechanisms that are good indicators of your actual performance. Hence, key performance indicators, KPIs. Practical meditation, really important. Okay. We help athletes get integrated into that. That's a good thing to be adding to your toolbox. We don't often do that right away because it's harder. It's kind of vague. What is it? And you got to find a one that works for you. And often those 4 fundamentals hit home harder and faster at the beginning. And then there's some other good stuff here about law of intention. Now, just to wrap up this toolbox, I know I'm kind of going deep into it here, is all the leadership stuff. And so in short, there's things about crucial conversations. What do you do when there's a lot on the line, and how do you come and stay centered? Do you know your communication style and how to work with others and lean on your strengths? And can you understand what are your values and other people's values and communicate in effective ways around that to maximize your leadership and impact on others? So bottom line, those are all the tools. And as you work on them, you climb the mindset mountain and improve the mental skills along the way. Well, if you don't know who I am, and you might be wondering, who's this guy saying all this, stuff about this, system, the CP mindset system, and the tools and strategies to climb the mountain. Well, I come about this very honestly. Myself, I was a hockey player, grew up in North Bay, Ontario in Canada. Was fortunate enough to get drafted, played in the OHL, played 5 years of junior hockey, a little bit of pro, and then 5 years of university hockey. And it was during that time, as I kept rising the ranks, the mental game became more important. I played great one game and then I'd be a disaster the next. So I didn't know what the skills were to work on exactly. I didn't know exactly how to do it or personalize it and use them consistently. Didn't have a very clear, streamlined 4 fundamentals that I could lean on. And so I slowly kind of worked on it myself for a while and got better near the end of my career. And that's obviously what inspired me and got me interested to go to school for longer, did my PhD, and now create the system that we have and you can use today. And the moral story, I've had lots of great teachers and mentors that have helped shape the work that I do and our programs and systems here. So that's a little bit about me. And then the final thing for you to reflect on is your next steps. If you're an athlete, it's getting the right coach for you. And you've sorted out based on what your preferences are, who's available. I've got pretty limited availability. But then also once you get booked in, you can get a free intro session. And once you find the right coach. And then at that session, it's just about getting to know each other. It's about getting to go through your assessment. You get to get a recommendation at the end, but you also get some insights. I'm like, oh, you'll start to understand your mindset a bit better and some of the tools. And then if it's a good fit, you'll get a recommendation. And then you get to actually try it risk-free, right? If you don't like it within the first 30 days, you get your money back. And so this is not about buying time. It's about a service, and we want to deliver results and help you improve and climb that mindset mountain. And if you're not, and it's not a good fit for you, then we're not doing our job well enough. And that's, what you're signing up for. So we kind of have this 30-day risk-free concept just to help athletes and people make that first jump. And if you're a coach and you're interested in your team, same kind of concept applies. You don't necessarily have the risk-free for the team thing. But we do have what you can think about as a coach out there is about getting your team involved. And we talk through, and we have some great team program options as well. So if anybody's interested in that, reach out for that as well. So bottom line, Hopefully you found this insightful. You kind of get a better understanding of who we are, what we're about, what is the mindset mountain and the CP journey, and what are the tools and skills that you're working on to climb that journey. All right. Enjoy, leave any comments, questions, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks.